What is good with y'all? It's your boy KAG, and today we're going to be talking about the Nintendo NX and a very old rumor that could possibly have told us what the NX is a very long time ago, except now we have a little bit more credibility as to why this actually could be exactly what he stated it was. And as you can all see on screen, we're talking about Geno's rumor, and actually I will leave a link to what he actually states down below in the description so y'all can check it out for yourselves. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's hop into this video. Now, he goes on to say, I don't have many details on the device itself, but I do have some background for it and some PR techniques they will use for it. A thing to note about the device is that much of its production was started in 2014, and many of the stuff I list here was outlined by the late Satoru Iwata before his passing. Hence, in the company, the NX is considered the last project of their late president. Employees since have stated at the end of every meeting for Iwata. The importance of this is that this new Nintendo is highly motivated in delivering a fantastic system and games, something that I quote from an employee, have not seen this much forward momentum on a project since they launched the original Famicom. So, first thing I want to note here is that he actually received this information from an employee at Nintendo. And as y'all all know, Geno has been right in the past. I'm not exactly what his track record is, but he's usually right. But let's go on and let's actually read what he has to say about what the NX actually is allegedly. So he says, it has a wireless HDMI dongle that attaches flush to the back of the device. A user can pull it out and insert it into any display with a normal size HDMI output, and the device uses an evolved version of the Wii U streaming tech to display in HD to the TV screen. Number 2, he says, allegedly, the analog controls for the movement has small motors in them for full haptic feedback, meaning if you control a character and hit a wall, the sticks move away from that direction of the wall to simulate running headfirst into it. This can also be used for jerking when firing a gun, taking damage, moving over rough terrain, etc. Number 3, it can literally Bluetooth sync with everything, especially smartphone and tablets, to the point where one feature is that it can take phone calls and display text messages from your phone onto the screen itself, so you don't have to stop and answer your smart device. Number 4, the closest in terms of power it gets to is the Xbox One, but an app idea is Wii U times 50 and PlayStation Vita times 100. The key is that all the tech is technically the same hardware layout as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which even combine it with the OS strong emulation functions and compiler means that any game that can run on a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One can run on the NX with near zero modification to the original source code, especially if it runs in Android OS or Unreal Engine 4. This is allegedly why Nintendo has given out the dev kit so late. As one third-party developer puts it, it's the easiest device we've ever developed for. You just take your code, compile it, and it works. Number 5, look to Pokemon Go to get the idea of the type of social features that will be in NX that will take multiplayer, AR, and the Street Pass concept to a whole new level. The real strength of this device is its usability and ease of use. Developers have described to me more than once that it visually and functionally looks as if Samsung and the Nintendo 2DS had a baby, in that it looks friendly, but unlike what most people visualize a Nintendo device to typically look. The operating system named Nintendo S alone is very powerful and has many modern features of mobile operating systems today that Nintendo is trying to be very careful in showing it off, for fear that it would be mistaken as running Android. It is also a very strong networking functions as it ties into multiple devices and services, allowing a very competent and persuasive ecosystem designed to constantly involve the consumers' lives. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and let's dissect this thing, because you know what? There was one thing that actually stuck out to me, but we'll discuss that later. We're gonna start at the top with number one, with the fact that it supposedly has an HDMI dongle that it streams to. Now, a lot of people have been saying that, hey, maybe it's going to be a hybrid of some sorts, and now that necessarily could be the case if it actually did go with this actual form factor, because this would technically be a hybrid, because you can take it on the go as well as you can play it at home on your TV. Now, also to note that this device, because of its actual form factor, that would also mean that it would take cartridges, because you wouldn't use disc inside of this device, right? No, because you don't take moving parts and you put them in mobile devices. It just doesn't work that way. So that is the first key right there, with it actually using the HDMI dongle. So that would technically remove the actual, unit under the TV aspect of it, as well as, as Nintendo said, or should I say Iwata said, they actually taken into effect, Japan as well as the West, because the West likes consoles and Japan likes handhelds. But what do we know about Japan? Well, they don't have a lot of space there, so to have a HDMI dongle that could just plug in the back of their TV without actually having a physical box in the house, that would actually save room for people in Japan, while still allowing them to have, a console experience. Now, let's move along to number two, with the analog controls that have full haptic feedback. Now, that is also a possibility. A lot of people have been talking about full haptic feedback for a while now. But the interesting thing about this full haptic feedback is how he actually describes it, as in going left or hitting a wall, or going right and actually, going through rough terrain and all this. Now, they've been trying to make it more immersive, as y'all all know, and there was actually a patent that I discussed a while back that has to do with, actual sound and vibration, right? So when you move to the left, or should I say you threw a bomb to the left, it would vibrate, the controller on the left, and it would make it more immersive. If you threw a bomb to the right and it exploded, it would vibrate on the right hand side. So that could go hand in hand with this full haptic feedback that we actually discussing here. Now, let's continue on with the Bluetooth syncing with everything, especially smartphones and tablets. So with that, if you actually look at that, actually what he's saying there, that is a possibility, because what they've been trying to do is they've been trying to get a lot more casuals on their actual fan base, right? Because Pokemon Go is actually bringing in those people who have been hiding out from Nintendo, who have moved to PlayStation. They are actually bringing in everybody. Y'all know how huge this thing is. Y'all know how much money Nintendo has made, and it hasn't even fully launched yet everywhere. So, with it syncing with Bluetooth devices and things like this, it is possible that you could actually sync it with Pokemon Go on your phone, and rather than taking your phone out your pocket, you can just walk around with the Nintendo NX and use it as your actual screen, to let you know where, the actual Pokemon is. So rather than needing a SIM card or a GPS, only thing you'll need is this device, and then the information will Bluetooth sync to the actual device. So that would actually be very unique right there, because that would actually give the people that are playing Pokemon Go a reason to buy this device, because rather than killing your phone's battery, just leave your phone in your pocket, pick up the NX. The NX will go ahead and it will sync with your phone, and you can actually play Pokemon Go on the go with their screen, as well as you'll have physical buttons. But on top of that, you don't have to pull your phone out your pocket, so you know what you get? You get your phone calls, you get your text messages, all of that on this one device. So it would go hand in hand. Now, as far as power goes, a lot of people, including Emily Rogers, has stated that the power of the device is around the power of an Xbox One. Now, a lot of people were upset with that. They were like, why would y'all make it the power of an Xbox One? But if you actually read what he says here, that it has a strong emulation function where it can actually go ahead and render games that look like PlayStation 4 or Xbox One on this device without any type of modifications to the original source code. So for example, rather than, EA or, Activision or anyone like that having to create completely new information to, render this on this console, they don't have to do that. All they have to do is just drop the source code into the device, and then it'll automatically go ahead and render the game so that it can run on the NX. Now that is a huge deal. The problem with the Nintendo Wii U was, number one, it was hard to develop for, and then when they had to transfer all the source code information over, it was either too weak or whatever. But now they won't have that problem because it can run the exact same source code. All you have to do is compile it, and then it transitions over, right? So that's kind of a big deal right there. Now then he actually goes on to talk about Pokemon Go, and as y'all know, Pokemon Go is huge. So he says, look at the social features that will be in NX and will take multiplayer, AR, and Street Pass concept to a whole new level. Now if y'all all know, everybody and their grandmama done downloaded Pokemon Go. I was out late last night and there was tons and tons of people out there catching Pokemon late at night. It looked like they were out there trick-or-treating. And these were adults, y'all. These were adults, these were teens, these were kids. They were all out at the street, hanging around, talking, socializing, and catching Pokemon. So, that kind of is going to bring in another aspect. So if it does actually bring in that concept with this, then, it does kind of make sense. But let's continue on. So we're getting into the nitty gritty here, y'all. And that is, he says, developers have described to me more than once that it visually and functionally looks as if Samsung and the Nintendo 2DS had a baby, and that it looks friendly, but unlike what most people visualize a Nintendo device to typically look. So that brings us to this device right here, which is the device I actually showed y'all several weeks ago. Now, I don't know if y'all can actually tell it on y'all screen, but this is not a rectangle. It's not shaped like a phone. It's not completely rectangle. It flares out at the top. If you look at it, it slightly flares out at the top. It's not as extreme as the 2DS flares out, but it does flare out at the top of the device. So what does this look like? Well, if you look at the speaker grill, if you look at your current Samsung phones, it has the exact same speaker grill. So you're looking at what looks like a Nintendo 2DS and a Samsung have had a baby, and it looks like this device. Now notice what you do not see in this picture. You do not see the back of this device. You do not see the top of this device. So it is a huge possibility that this device is technically the NX. I mean, a lot of people say you can't give any credit to, these patents. But like I stated to several people online, I've seen many patents. Y'all know I'm the king of patents. I look at patents all day. But this patent right here, this patent has a lot of detail. I go ahead, I look at the actual design database. This looks like something that would be in the design database, not just a regular patent. A regular patent would be a rectangle with maybe one or two things that would kind of show you what it would somewhat look like, but this goes in a lot of detail. Look at the actual framing around this screen, look at the speaker grill, look at the engravedness of the power buttons. Look at the A, B, and X, Y buttons. Look at as much detail that is in this actual device picture. And on top of that, Geno just backed it up with the fact that it kind of looks like a Nintendo 2DS and, you know, a Samsung have had a baby. Because, a matter of fact, I didn't even say that. Y'all can read down in the comment section of my old video, and you heard where a lot of people said it looks like a Nintendo 2DS, like some type of modification of a Nintendo 2DS. And this is exactly what you have here. You know, it looks like a Nintendo 2DS and a Samsung have had a baby. So there is a huge possibility that on the back of this rectangular device right here, you know, that there is some type of HDMI dongle that is attached to there, you know. So you never really know, y'all. Y'all never really know. And lastly, his statement says, it also has a very strong networking function as it ties into multiple devices and services, allowing a very competent and persuasive ecosystem designed to constantly involve consumers' lives. And as y'all know, Pokemon is kind of consuming a lot of people's lives, but, you know, with it actually taking, you know, text messages and phone calls and sending it to this device, this could technically be huge and would consume a lot of, you know, gamers' lives, or people who play Nintendo, or people who play games online in general. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about all this. If you think I'm onto something, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section, and also don't forget to smash that like button. And as always, if you're new to this channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button, because we talk about all things Nintendo. And as I said, and I'm gonna continue to say, I revealed the Nintendo NX. Peace.